Hey guys! In this video, I'm going to tell you the most important things you need to know to play Protection Paladin in PvP. Ability, talents, traits, stats, as well as some comps, like good comps to play in 2v2 and 3v3. So let's get started. So the ability priority is Judgment, first and foremost. The damage is rather insane, and it has a lot higher output than the other abilities. It's usually about 30 to 50% of your overall damage, depending on how much you get kited in an arena battle. The second ability to use is Avenge Shield. Its damage is quite good, but make sure you also have it ready for when you want to silence enemy with Shield of Virtue. So don't just randomly use it the moment it gets ready. The third ability I would say you use in the priority is Hammer of Righteous. It is semi-solid damage, but it also has a chance to proc Judgment and Avenge Shield, which adds up to a lot of pressure. If you have Inspiring Vanguard trait as well, it will have an increased chance to proc, and it also gives you an amazing strength proc. And then the fourth ability, I would say, is Consecration. It's not really that high on the list. The reason is that we get like kited a lot in PP, and we're gonna keep chasing, so we're not really standing in the Consecration. If you're facing melees that keep going on you, then it could be good to have it up. I mean, then you use it a bit more often. There's also a reason Master ain't so good for us. I mean, because we won't get used of the whole Master all the time, thanks to leaving Consecration. Alright, and Hand Protector is pretty much used off cooldown whenever your team needs healing. If you are about to get Avenging Wrath ready, I would say it's good to save Hand Protector for the extra boost. Shield of Righteous is great additional damage, and it's off the cooldown. I mean, off the global cooldown. So make sure you have 2 charges ready for Seraphim as well, for when you need to use it. Okay, let's go on to the talents. The first tier, I would suggest you use Holy Shield, pretty much always. It's amazing magic defense, as well as a damage boost for us, and it increases with our mastery. The other talent on this tier is not even near the power of this one. Even like Blessed Hammer is worse for us because we move so much in PP and so on. On the second tier, Crusade Judgment is also the go-to. Since Judgment is our main damage, and having 2 charges on it, as well as getting constant procs of it, is actually amazing. Nothing comes close to this. Nothing comes close on this tier. The third tier depends a bit on your setup. I usually go with Fist of Justice, since it's a constant stun, and I mean, you get constant stuns every, like, let's say 20 seconds or so. But for other comms, you might want to CC instead, such as Repentance or Blinding Light. But it depends a lot on what kind of diminishing returns your team uses. Okay, so the fourth tier, it depends also a bit. Spell Warding I use mostly, even against melee heavy comms, because so many comms have these spells. And Hand of Protection getting this spell, Blessing of Protection getting this spell instantly is kinda bad. But if you really need a mobility, then Cavalier is better to use. But yeah, as I said, it depends a lot on the comp. Retribution Aura ain't really that good. If you don't care at all about mobility and you just go for maximum damage, then it is quite alright, I guess. On the fifth tier, Hand Protector is the most valuable one. The other ones don't even come close. Like, being able to off-heal your teammates is actually really good. As in, insanely good. Okay, then the sixth tier, I usually go with Judgment of Light. It's a great additional healing, and it has no cooldown. So if you're playing with a Fury Warrior or Enhancement Shaman that they hit really fast, which means you get procs all the time. However, certain comps, I can think that Consecrated Ground is really good to have, since it's a slow and we don't have any other kind of slow, like when they kite around pillars. I still stick mainly to Judgment of Light for healing, but I can see the other one being used as well. Okay, so the 7th tier, I would suggest Seraphim for most comps and playstyle. At least if you're going offensively. It's the best DPS talent here by far. But if you're going for stalling and like surviving as long as possible, then Righteous Protector is probably better. And Righteous Protector scales really good with haste. So now with a new tier as well, I mean more eye level, makes Righteous Protector even better. So it depends a bit on the playstyle and your comp. Last Defender might be good in 3v3 against certain enemies, such as Unholy Death Knight with lots of ghouls and such, but it's quite situational. Okay, so let's go on to the honor talents. The standard honor talents I use are the following. First, Shield of Virtue, because a blanket silence is amazing and quite rare these days. It lasts for 4 seconds and only 45-second cooldown, which is not bad at all. It's also a really important piece if you're playing burst comps, such as double DPS and protection, for killing the enemy healer in like CC chains. Guardian of the Forgotten Queen is quite good. I use it mostly, like almost always, because we can give it to our teammates and make them immune to CC. The thing is that it easily gets shut down if the enemy is doing AoE CC or they target by in-cap or something. So you need to use it quite wisely, or use it early in the fight when they might not expect it. I would suggest you run out of your group and use it to get maximum, least chance that it actually gets instantly countered. And it's also quite bad because it removes one of our own defensives. So sometimes, if your teammates are good, like survival-wise, it's better to go for something else, because then you keep your best defensive for yourself. Judgment of the Pure is something I also use, because it's amazing healing. It's scaled quite well in BFA compared to Legion. It also heals the one with the least amount of health, so keep that in mind. And that's not percentage. So tanks have a lot of health. So if your teammate is at like, let's say full health, 150k, and we are like at 60% health, it's still gonna heal your teammate usually because they have, less health, if you get what I mean. This is quite good to have. I really like it because of the healing. And then there's a lot of other talents that got a good use. Let's say Seed of Glory is awesome because knockback really got good uses in PvP. Let's say you're facing a Disc Priest and you need to get them out of the barrier, then Seed of Glory can really save you. Hell of the Ground is awesome anti-snare for your team. And Inquisition is really good additional damage. There's a lot of things to choose from. So I would test around a bit and see what works with your comp. Okay, aswell traits. I've been checking around a bit for the best possible traits to use. I think we should go for Righteous Conviction, the one that increases the healing of Hand Protector, and Inspiring Vanguard. This is not for burst, but this is like really sustained and good pressure. It's gonna be really great next patch, I'm pretty sure. This patch. Yeah, the coming few weeks. It gives a lot of off-healing as well as good pressure, so that's good to go for. And then the question is where do you get these pieces that have these two? The helmet. Actually, the funny thing is that PvP rewards, the PvP helmet, the PvP chest, and PvP shoulders all have both of these. It's actually quite insane. So you can just do PvP and get all of them. But otherwise, there is a helmet from the raid, Crown of Bloody Succession from the Activision boss. Yeah, exactly. And then there's shoulders, Ridge Plates Pauldrons that drop from Conclave of the Chosen. They also have the two amazing traits, as well as quite good inner traits. Anyway, let's go on to the stats. I would suggest you go for Haste, because Haste is always useful. It reduces our global cooldown, which is really great, and it scales well with most abilities, as well as the Fix of Justice talent. With the scaling system in PvP, it's uncertain how great both versatility and mastery is these days, like how much they actually impact. But Haste is always reliable. Versatility is the second place, I would say. It scales well with most asset traits, and well, mastery doesn't always do that. Let's say Bulwark of Light, if you have that. Versatility increases it, but mastery won't. Mastery is on the third spot, but I'm a bit uncertain sometimes between those two, because Master increases Holy Shield, and that increases your damage done. But the issue is that we move out of Consecration so much, so it doesn't really add a good bonus in that way. So that's why I prefer Versatility myself. And Crit is nerfed in PvP, as well as being quite unreliable, so I don't really like it so much. Okay, now, for the last part. I'm gonna give you some tips for some comps. First thing in 2v2 is that we can work well with a lot of DPSs, up to like 2.7, 2.5 and such. probably higher. Who knows? I haven't played that much 2v2 lately. Alright, so you want to change your playstyle a bit between offensively and defensively depending on what DPS you play with. When I played with a Fury Warrior, we went quite defensive, but when I played with an Unholy Death Knight, we went way more for offense and used like killing them in the beginning. But it was a while ago, and they nerfed our healing by 40% on Hand Protector, so I'm not sure exactly how the defensive playstyle works these days. If you have a squishy partner, I would suggest you go offensively all the way. If you have a tanky partner, then defensive can probably win out in the end. And I'm not sure how a disc priest would work with us, or like a healer tank. That would be quite a toxic comp, but I actually want to try that someday, which I should get around to do. Alright, so 3v3. For 3v3, I know the protection works really well with the healers. I've seen some people play it. Like I've heard that protection, enhancement shaman, and resto shaman works at 2.8k, which is quite good. And there are some really high protection pallets that play to the healer. I personally mainly play with double DPS and tank, which is quite odd, I guess, because most people don't play at high rating without a healer. But it works quite well because protection pally and the red pally and my usual partner is an Unholy Death Knight. We have like immunities to peeling with anti-mag shell and 2 diamond shields, as well as a combo of stun followed by silence from protection pally. And we're usually able to kill the enemy healer in the opener and still survive long enough to kill DPS, and maybe if it's a holy pally like the healer, then the next CC chain. So yeah, it's a really great comp. I only try that high rating with like protection pally, red pally, and Unholy or arms warrior. And so far it's gone better with the Unholy Death Knight. And it's really fast games. I mean, fast win or fast lose, so it's quite chill. Alright guys, so that was all I had to share with you. If you want to see some gameplay of the different comps, then I'm gonna link it in the description for some 2v2 and 3v3 montage. Thanks all for watching, and stay tuned for more.